We're back. That's right. Education Committee. I'm a little bit late on it, but it's not that big of a deal. And I'm actually happy that I waited a few days for it because there will be another education meeting this week. I'm currently recording this on February 2nd, and this won't come out until February 3rd because that'll be when the Indy Council meeting is happening, which yours truly will be there in audience like I am almost every month. So, and also it'll be time stamped. Make sure you go to the end of the video because there was an article that came out from Mirror Indy and it is very, very interesting. But let's just get into it.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Education Committee meeting of the Indianapolis City County Council.
Damn, nobody showed up for this thing.
Before we get started, I want to allow my colleagues on this committee the opportunity to introduce themselves, starting with bottom left.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Derek Cahill, District 23.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John Barth, District 7.
Leroy Robinson, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dan Boots, District 3, Washington, Lawrence Township.
Thank you all, and good evening, everyone. My name is Keith Graves. I am the chair of this Education Committee. I do have a few words that I want to, a few comments here prepared. I want to welcome you all to tonight's meeting. As always, it's an honor to gather here and discuss the important issues that shape the educational future of our city. We take that on this committee very seriously. I am especially excited about tonight's agenda because we are joined by an exceptional leader in education, Dr. Nikki Woodson, the superintendent of Washington Township Schools. Dr. Woodson has been a transformative force in public education for more than a decade, and we are super happy that she's here. We're also fortunate to have a presentation from the City Connects, a partnership with Marian University, so I'm excited about that as well. As the Education Committee here, we have a responsibility to champion initiatives that ensure Indianapolis develops a well-educated city and a strong workforce for the future. The work we do here plays an active role in shaping the environment for academic success and workforce readiness. Collaboration with our school systems is essential to our mission. It's important that superintendents like Dr. Woodson share their story and the story of their schools with our committee. Hearing directly about the challenges, successes, and innovative practices in our districts helps us better understand the needs of our communities and allows us to provide intentional and meaningful support. Together, we can create a foundation that ensures every child in Indianapolis has the opportunity to achieve their full potential. Dr. Woodson, we are eager to hear your insights and updates regarding the outstanding work happening in Washington Township. Your leadership and perspective are invaluable as we work to improve literacy, numeracy, and overall academic outcomes citywide. So thank you for being with us this evening. We look forward to a productive and inspiring discussion. But first, we have a couple of items on the agenda. Number one, proposal number 7, which amends Chapter 271 of the Revised Code of the Consolidated City and County to add Public Education Fund Program. I understand that there is a motion.
So basically, there would be tax dollars, more tax dollars going to schools, which we're going to talk about at the end because there was an article written about it. I like how there was no public comment on this whole thing. Is that what he's just going to?
Proposal 7.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that Proposal 7 be moved on and passed from this agenda and passed to the full council with the recommendation of do not pass.
Oh, wow.
Having been properly moved in second, we want to make sure that we jump all of our hurdles by hearing from our council. Council, do we need a roll call vote, or would our motion survive?
So the reason why there was not a do not pass, it explains it in the article, but what he might say, I'm not sure because we're watching this for the first time, is that it needs to go further. It was very soft language.
You can do a voice vote.
Is there public comment?
No public comment tonight.
Wow, for Democrats crying about transparency and mud democracy, they didn't even have a public comment. Shocker.
Councilor Graves.
Graves, no. Or yes to the proposal. Sorry. The motion.
Councilor Barth.
Yes to the motion that recommended do not pass to full council.
Councilor Boots.
Boots, yes.
Councilor Cahill.
Cahill, yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Robinson, yes.
Recommended that the council
Move to full council with the do not pass recommendation.
Thank you, Council Pierce. And it looks like
Good God, what the fuck was that? Standard DEI hire.
we have moved proposal number 7, 2025, onto the full council with the vote to do not support and pass. Now, we do have some words from my colleague here, Chair Boots.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to explain for those that are maybe watching and in the crowd that may have expected an opportunity for public testimony tonight, the current proposal as introduced and part of the formal record is in a sense being withdrawn. It's being recommended to go back to the committee and be killed, or back to the council, I'm sorry, and be killed. There'll be a new proposal in its place that will be introduced March 3rd, and then we'll go to the Education Committee in March. So that's the procedural history of it. So for those who may have been here tonight expecting to testify, we apologize, but due to the procedural hurdles, that's where we are.
Thank you for your clarification, Chair Boots. I do want to say that we encourage all participation from our community, from our educational community. I think it's important that we as a council seek opportunities to be impact players where education is concerned, and what this proposal number 7, in its better fine-tuned position will be just that. It will be an impact move that will be truly transformative. We're super excited about it, and we look forward to delivering that fine-tuned product to our community as soon as we possibly can. With that, I want to invite Dr. Woodson and her team from Washington Township up to present. We are looking forward to hearing more. Thank you, Dr. Woodson.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this invitation to learn more about Washington Township schools. We certainly are very proud of our schools, our staffs, our family, and our community, and we're thrilled to have an opportunity to share with you more about our district this evening. We do have a team here. I'm going to kick everything off. Am I just to say when the slide advances? All right, we can go to the next slide. I am the proud superintendent of Washington Township. In my 15th year in Washington Township, I have had an incredible journey.
Why can't I find her?
But it is time for that journey to come to an end, and I will ride off into retirement this summer, and looking forward to that. But you are in for a treat tonight because...
Holy shit, you want to see? Oh, man. So she was this is back in 2017. She was making $271,000. How crazy is that?
The incoming superintendent will close out our presentation this evening, so you will have an opportunity to engage with him as well tonight. Washington Township is very special to me, not just because I serve as superintendent, but I've worn several hats. I'm also been a resident for 15 years in Washington Township, and Washington Township has raised my own children since preschool, so it is a very special place to me, and I'm thrilled to share a little bit about it this evening. On the next page is access to everything we are going to share tonight, so that if you want to refer back to something or look at a data piece or something that we share, that is your direct access to everything we are sharing. On the next slide are some details for you.
Oh my God. I found it, boys. $316,000 in 2023. That's unbelievable. Unfreaking believable.
You have been provided an information folder with a lot of details and information regarding Washington Township schools. These two print pieces are a couple of them, but I do encourage you to take a look inside that folder. Additionally, in the folder, per request to my office earlier today, is a hard copy of this slide presentation for your files. On the next slide, we start celebrating Washington Township over the past decade. And if you look at over the past decade, there have been some tremendous strides in Washington Township schools. I'm going to give you a high-level overview, but throughout our presentation this evening, you are going to hear more in-depth details. First, we did in Washington Township, with the support of our community, secure an additional $500 million in funds to support our staff, retention and recruitment, as well as our learning environments. And that was done through 2 different referenda, and we could not have done that without the support of our community.
Hey, thanks for the extra tax money there, citizens.
We are also thrilled that we have significant enrollment increases. The last 2 years, fall of 2023 and fall of 2024, Washington Township had the highest enrollment increases in all of Marion County.
Now, is that because of all the illegals that are coming in? That's what I'm trying to figure it out.
This year's enrollment increase puts us at the largest enrollment total that we've had since 2016-17 school year. So we are thrilled that families are choosing Washington Township for their children's education. During that time, we've also increased our teaching staff. We know we have to have high qualified teachers in front of our students to make an impact, and so we've increased our teachers during the last 10 years by almost 170 new highly qualified, diverse teachers. We know we couldn't do that without being very competitive. So during that time, we've also increased our teacher pay and increased our retention of a teacher rate during that time. We are thrilled that we have a reduction in out-of-school suspensions over the last decade, significant strides in graduation rate, equaling double-digit increases. We have increased access for students of color to high-level courses and honors. And we are ranked first or second in almost all academic areas when you compare us to other urban school districts that look like Washington Township. We're also thrilled that we are able to improve all of our learning environments and school facilities for 21st century learning environments for both staff and students. And certainly a celebration is that we navigated through a global pandemic.
Oh my God.
While we recognize all of those celebrations, on this next slide, at the same time, we recognize that we have areas of continuous improvement that we need to focus on.
Oh, I'm sure.
And there's two different areas I would point you to for our detailed work in this space. First is our district strategic plan. That outlines all of our district level goals and responsibilities that we have to ensure continuous improvement. Our areas of focus are equitable achievement, number 1, that's our top priority. We also have a goal of increasing highly qualified and diverse staff and retention of those staff members. We also have a fiscal responsibility goal and a partnership goal. Aside from the district goals, every single school in Washington Township has a school improvement plan as well. And those are available to the public along with the district strategic plan on our website. And we encourage anyone who's interested to know the details of what our schools are working on that's personalized and individualized based on their data to access that. The district strategic plan is available in your information folder if that is of interest to you. We also have members of our school board on the next slide. That is our school board in total, but if school board members who are here tonight could stand so that we could recognize you. Thank you for being here, Ms. Fry and Mrs. Horth Kruger.
How much you want to bet these are all liberal a-holes?
But the other 3 colleagues that they serve with are recognized on this slide as well. We have an outstanding school board who pushes us as administrators to strive for continuous improvement for our district and our students and are extremely supportive to the efforts that we do. The entire meeting calendar and all of their information is on the bottom of that slide if you ever want to access them. On the next slide, you can see the dream team. I am only one person, and I can't do the wonderful celebrations and points of pride that you already heard about without an extraordinary team. And the team that you see on this slide is here tonight, and that is our executive leadership team. They represent oversight of every single part of Washington Township, whether it's facilities, budget and management, teaching and learning, student services, human resources, operations. And so with the team approach, we are going to share more details through each department about Washington Township schools. Up first is our primary reason for existing, which is our Teaching and Learning and Student Services Department on the next slide. And they're going to share some really important information with you about our programs.
Oh, boy. This is so freaking good. Natica Pettigrew, huh? Hold on, let me screenshot this real quick. We're going to...
that we offer within our schools. And I would ask us to make it as quick as possible. We come as close as possible once you get close. Thank you.
So good evening. I am Nataki Pettigrew, and I am the Chief Academic and DEI Officer for Washington Township. And I am here with my colleagues. Come on up closer. So we have Dr. Skabinski, who is our Director of Student Services. We have Tim Blom, who is our Director of Elementary, which is K-5. We have Dr. Thorpe, who is Director of Middle School, that's 6-8. And then Dr. Seaver, who is responsible for our high school, North Central, JEL, True North, and of course...
actually, it shows her as child nutrition. Can you imagine? There's no fucking way that's the same person, is it? Hold on. Yep. She's in charge of nutrition? Really? No fucking way. Get out of here with that.
It's 9/12. And so we are excited to be able to share some information this evening, but I would say this is the dream team.
Oh, she was part of the Hamilton County School Chief again. Oh boy. She was Hamilton, what is it? Hamilton County Southeastern? Is that what it is? Yeah, Hamilton Southeastern. Leaving the position. Oh man, that is so funny. I got to figure out how much she was making.
They have all of the expertise related to the learning environment in Washington Township. So on the next slide, you will note our achievement in Washington Township. So to the left here, you will see that our data really tells the compelling story of our achievement in Marion County specifically, but even beyond Marion County. So in many areas, we are first. If you look at students of color, we are first as related or as compared to districts that are very similar to ours, and that would be districts with 10,000 students or more. 50% free or reduced, 50% students of color. You will also note that we are either first or second in terms of all students, and that includes all subgroups within that comparison group. And then when you look at our data, it really tells a story of how we are using a comprehensive approach to educate students. And so on the right, you will see some of our achievement strategies, such as cultural awareness, cultural humility, cultural responsiveness training. We are driven by data. Part of our monthly meetings with our principals, our administrators, with our instructional coaches, everything is driven by data. And one piece of data that we think is very important is that when students are with us for year after year without disruptions, we see as much as triple the growth in proficiency. So students, for example, that are in the 3rd grade, when they have been with us since pre-K or kindergarten, we see anywhere from 50 to 55% proficiency compared to students who've had disruptions in their learning. And so that's a really important fact to share with you all. If you also look on the right, we are focused on improvement on our school improvement plans, as well as the approach of our MTSS process and our PLCs, which really promote professional learning, not just among teachers, but also administrators. And so really, these are not just strategies in a presentation. They are real-life practices that are impacting our students day to day. The next slide shows opportunities that we engage in equity work. Our Elevate instructional framework allows us to have common language amongst teachers and administrators to move the needle instructionally. We are especially proud of our district equity leadership team, which includes our administrators at the building level as well as the district level. We are excited by our community coalition, which is a partnership with not just parents, but community partners in which we co-plan, for example, our Student Leadership Conference, our vaccination clinic, that has been born out of the Community Coalition. We are focused on social and emotional learning, which you'll hear more about from Dr. Skabinski. We have expanded our course offerings. I don't think there's a school in Marion County that has as many course offerings as we have at North Central, and we are very proud of that. We are excited by our AVID work at the high school and our pre-AVID work at the middle school. We also have a robust high ability and honors program in which we are doing everything we can to mitigate barriers for students who otherwise would not have access to high ability or honors coursework. And then we also focus on student and staff wellness. We have our Panorama survey that provides valuable data for how we can move the needle for students who may be struggling or areas that we can address in our advisory period. So we have multiple pathways to ensure that we are providing equitable learning environment for our students.
Oh my God.
And these, again, are not just programs that we implement, but these are opportunities for students to be successful in our space. On the next slide, you will see that we are extremely diverse student population.
Yeah. You could say that. Okay, so English language learners means English is not their first language. That means you have all these illegals coming in and they don't know how to speak English. Like Miguel over here. Students in poverty. Holy shit.
And we believe
345 refugees, 72 native languages, 350 homeless. That is, I mean, it sounds like Washington Township is filled with shithole. Is a shithole.
That is really the strength of Washington Township. So when you look at our current numbers, we have a great number of students who are English language learners. We have high ability students in excess of 1,200 students. We have over 2,000 students that receive special education support. We have nearly 50% of our student body experiences poverty, and so you will see that here. That's nearly 50% of our population of students. We have about 345 refugee students. We are excited that we have over 70 native languages, which should that really is a testament to our diverse student population. And then, of course, if you look at the bottom, we have about 350 students who are experiencing homelessness. The next slide will share a little bit about our demographics. And again, we believe that our true strength is in our diverse student population. And as you can see, we are overwhelmingly a district of students of color. We have 39.5% Black students, 22.3% Hispanic, 29% Caucasian, 3% Asian, and 6% multiracial. And so each student, they bring with them their unique experiences, their funds of knowledge. And so we're just grateful to be able to partner with families and students to help enrich the learning experience for their student. And really our job, and you will hear more from the directors, is to support and to provide opportunities for the students that are in our care. And so you will hear now from Mr. Blom, who's going to talk a little more about Dr. Skabinski, who's going to talk more about student services.
Good evening. I'm fortunate, as Dr. Pettigrew was talking about all of the academic gains that we've experienced.
What is she a doctor in?
In the MSD of Washington Township, that doesn't just happen by happenstance. In Washington Township, we believe in the whole child approach. So we understand that there are things and systems that we have to put in place so that our children can enter into the classrooms and perform at their best ability level. In Washington Township, we service students age 3 through 22. So we have the very first learners the day they turn 3, and we will also service some of our most at-risk special education students until they are 22. So what makes Washington Township unique?
All right,
well, we believe in student services that we are a continuum of support. We work as a team with a district behavioral team to come alongside my colleagues, building principals, to support the work happening in the classrooms. We have a district autism coach. We then support related services. So we have SLPs, physical therapists, OTs. They are all pushing into our classrooms to provide the services that our students need in the time in which they.
You know, we never used to have this problem, but it seems like the more money we throw at this whole thing, the more problems that we have. Like, I'm old, okay, and we never had any of this crap at all, and we were doing just fine. And all of a sudden, you're throwing at all these coordinators and coaches and bullshit after bullshit, and it's really not helping anything.
We need them. So we are meeting students exactly where they are. We have nurses on all of our campuses. Unlike most districts in Marion County, we have a social worker at every single one of our schools, and we have school counselors at every one of our schools, except for, and we're working on it, in our elementary schools. So when we talk about the supports that we need for students to actually access and success academics, we have to think through the whole child. And so how do we do that? We do that through college and career counseling. We do that through work-based learning. We do that through our college access specialist. We tell students, when you leave Washington Township, you are going to do one of three things. You are going to enroll, you are going to enlist, you are going to employ, or you are going to become an entrepreneur. And regardless of one of those four E's, there are life skills that we need to ensure that you are ready.
Hold on. Let me go back to that.
One of three things. You are going to enroll, you are going to enlist, you are going to employ, or you are going to become an entrepreneur.
Okay. Boy, it seems like you're really twisting everybody's shit. Either you're going to enlist in the military, you're going to enroll in college, you're going to employ somewhere, or you're going to be an entrepreneur. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'd prefer for them just to read first, to be able to do basic math and reading, but
and regardless of one
seems
of
like
those
something
four
really
E's,
down the road.
there are life skills that we need to ensure that you are ready. You will see that my team, and when you hear from my colleagues, there is lots of cross-collaboration that works with student services to, again, support and come alongside that student. Our goal is to support and promote the academics. Next slide, please. Our prized possession in Washington Township, if you have not visited, you need to stop by, is our Early Learning Center. Our Early Learning Center consists of, right now, there's about 265, and by the end of the year, we will have 300 of the earliest learners that we are welcoming into Washington Township, age 3, 4, and 5. Over 50% of those students receive some type of special education service. So whether they are identified as developmentally delayed, perhaps they need some speech, these students come to our school either half day, full day, or perhaps even do some drop-in services to ensure that they are progressing at that of their same age peers. We are excited in that we have been identified as a Paths to Quality School 3, and we will be pursuing Paths to Quality 4. But one of the greatest testaments to Paths to Quality 3 this year is that we can now accept CCDF and On My Way Pre-K. So when you think about access and making sure that all children are entitled to a fantastic early learning environment, we can now access those families that perhaps were unable to do so.
Hey, you know, you got to get those children in the young so we can twist their mind into thinking that they are a different gender or that cutting themselves up. Or, hey, you know what? You should totally be emotionally compromised all the time.
When you think about what are the academic achievements, what does an early learning center look like, right? We are definitely...
Oh, by the way, this is just marketing for your tax money to be spent on pre-K.
Aligned to iSprout. So we are built on standards. We recognize developmentally and chronologically where our children are, but it is a learning-based environment based upon play. So it is going to be structured that of a pseudo school, and our students are going to be progressing. Parents are going to be getting feedback on how their students are progressing on these cognitive types of assessment. The team is working on 7 essential skills, which we believe are imperative to the growth of our youngest minds. We currently are implementing the pyramid model, which goes in line with SEL, which is our social emotional learning, which exists across our continuum. So starting with our early learners in grade 3, all the way to our students that are 22, they all are receiving very robust social emotional learning. We then are focusing on continuing to add additional pathways for our students because we're doing everyday speech, we're providing those opportunities for students to connect, we're providing examples to their non-disabled peers, and we're providing them the space to engage with the learning and the highly qualified educational professionals that have that mastery at the pre-K level. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Blom, who's going to specifically talk about K-5. Thank you.
Good evening. We are very excited and proud of all the wonderful things happening in our eight elementary schools. As you are probably aware, legislation was passed last spring requiring all school districts to adopt a reading program based on the science of reading. In Washington Township, we started that shift to science of reading several years ago. And so we have provided multiple professional learning opportunities for all of our elementary educators on the science of reading, and they were very excited and ready to go when we adopted our new curriculum this year. We were proud to be able to provide professional development for every one of our teachers on the new curriculum prior to the start of the school year, and then follow-up professional development, taking advantage of one of our e-learning days this fall. Almost 84% of our third graders passed the iRead 3 test last school year, and Clearwater Elementary reached the 96%, so achieved that state benchmark that is still a couple years away. Washington Township third and fourth graders scored highest among other large urban districts on both the iLearn Math and iLearn ELA tests. Along with our focus on early literacy, we want to make sure that we have well-rounded students, and we were excited to receive over $40,000 in grant funding for our elementary schools in order to expand our robotics programs across the district. And I want to specifically lift up Spring Mill Elementary School, was selected 2 years ago as a Get Your Teach On collaboration site. That program went so well that not only are they one of only 2 elementary schools in the state to be a collaboration site this year, but our principal, Clay Martin, has been a regular speaker at their national conferences this year, sharing the many wonderful things that are happening in our schools with other educators across the district. And with that, I will pass it on to Dr. Thorpe to speak about our middle schools.
Is that a dude?
Thank you, Mr. Blom. Good evening. I am here to represent the middle level, the most exciting level. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember what middle school was like. I know I do, but we are doing amazing things in Washington Township. So with the next, okay, that is my slide. All right, so just a few things that I want to highlight is one of the things that Mr. Blom shared is that we received the robotics grant grades K through 12, and so we're excited because it allows us to expand our robotics team and programming, which also offers students opportunities to participate in clubs after school as well as go out and compete. We offer engaging courses. We do offer Project Lead the Way. A couple of our courses that we offer are automation and robotics, medical detectives, and app creators. And we are currently in the process of reviewing our courses just to see if we can get even more engaging coursework. We also are an AVID district, so with AVID, one of the things that we stress is the instructional practices of AVID, which are the Wicker strategies, such as writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And then all of our students also use a success-bound curriculum because we believe in teaching our students employability skills. And if you look at our academic achievements, one area that we are super excited about is that the dual language immersion program that is in Willow Lake Elementary will scale up to West Lane Middle School next year.
Why?
Then we also have 28% of our middle schoolers.
Hey, can we just get them to, read and do math first before we start thinking that, hey, it's a really good idea for them to learn a second language, because we know how many Mexicans are coming into this country illegally and they can't communicate with them. But for some reason, we have to learn their language, not that they have to learn our language.
High school classes for credit. We also have 43% of our students are enrolled in the 21st Century Scholarship Program. And just overall, I'm excited about the work we're doing at the middle level. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Seaver.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Seaver. I have the pleasure of overseeing our high school programs, including our flagship high school in North Central that serves nearly 4,000 students, as well as our J. Everett Light Career Center and our True North Academy, which serves students that need a non-traditional high school experience for a variety of reasons. So up here on the screen, you can see a few of the academic program highlights and academic achievements of our high school level. One of the things that you would notice right away at North Central is that if you have an interest, we have a way to meet the need of that interest, whether it be through our courses or our extracurricular activities or our clubs. We also have very robust, rigorous course offerings. So you can see here we've had a long tradition of academic excellence in terms of programming with advanced placement, international baccalaureate, and dual credit offerings. We have great partnerships with Indiana University and Ball State for dual credit. And all of our 10th grade students engage in a Panther exploration project. And with the new high school diploma, we're looking forward to utilizing that opportunity to encourage our students to do some career-connected, inquiry-based learning through that project. Our SAT results we're very proud of are consistently above the state average. Our overall graduation rate for the class of 2024 was 90.4%, which was also above the state average. We're also proud that that's above the charter school average, which was, I think, 58% for the class of 2024. So really excited about our outcomes for our seniors. We have some great world language programming, some of the highest world language AP scores in the state, as well as a multitude of our seniors graduating each year with the Certificate of Multilingual Proficiency. And so I'd like to also talk a little bit about our Career Center. J. Everett Light Career Center has been a longstanding institution in central Indiana, and we continue to have really cutting-edge programs. Some of you might remember, and when I was a kid, it was shop class. That's not the career and technical education of today. We have all sorts of programs that are really not just for students that want to go straight into the workforce after high school, but also students that are going into college. So many of our students graduate with career certifications and then go into a four-year college, get a four-year degree, and then utilize both their degree and their certification from high school to then pursue their career. So we have veterinary science, health careers, dental careers. Those are some of our most popular offerings, and we are constantly expanding. A few years ago, we started a biomedical pathway at North Central, and that's continuing to grow in popularity, and each year we are expanding those offerings. And so I hope that you can see from the pre-K level that Dr. Skabinski talked about with those little 3-year-olds all the way up to our high school students, we really aim to offer forward-thinking and comprehensive learning experiences for all of our students. And with that, I will pass it off to Mr. Kneebone, our Director of Technology.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to start by highlighting and recognizing the student achievements of our teams on the screen here. Our robotics team was able to triple the participation and membership this year and place third in the state qualifiers. The esports team was able to increase its participation by 30%, and they placed highly in many of their tournaments, and also received recently recognition and spiritware from the Indianapolis Colts in their partnership with EA Sports, as our team made it to semifinals in the Madden competition. Now, to the left there, it's all through the...
Who gives a shit? This is the stuff that you guys are focused on? Your school, all right? Hey, we got an esports team now. Hey, I know all these kids are gonna be distracted playing Madden. But you know what? Tell you what, their reading and math can take a back seat. We got video games to play. Okay.
The year, last year, and this year, we hosted family tech tables in an effort to boost engagement with families. So we'd work with families and students to download, install, and set up apps so that they're able to receive communications, increase engagement, and follow student performance measurements in the apps. So we also sent them home then with a flyer with QR codes with a variety of continued learning opportunities they could scan, and it would take them to our technology site so they could continue learning at their time and pace when they had opportunity. One of the things everybody always wants to learn more about right now is artificial intelligence and AI in instruction. So you can see that our journey started last year. We beefed up our responsible use policy, put in the guardrails and protections for misuse of AI in the township. We continue that with creating course content for teachers and students available in our Canvas environment so they could learn about AI, types of AI, how to leverage that. And the focus for students was really on ethical use and where is that line to academic dishonesty. We worked over the summer and trained administrators in a half-day training on the use of AI, types of AI, and ways to use that for efficiency in their jobs. We rolled out guidelines based on the Teach AI framework that teachers and departments could leverage.
Ethically use
and
AI.
we offered our integration specialists to go out and co-teach and work alongside students and teachers as they integrate artificial intelligence into the classroom.
What do they mean by ethically? That's what I'm saying, because it's all subjective to the leftist, you know.
And we also launched a website on our township website. It's AI in Washington Township that describes our philosophy on artificial intelligence, how we got to our framework, and gives resources to families, teachers, and students for their own continued development and understanding of artificial intelligence. And with that, we'll go to the next slide, and I will turn it over to Dr. Kaiser.
Good evening. I'm Matt Kaiser, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. And as you'll see from the next slide, this is the makeup of our current Washington Township staff. And as you'll see from the positions on that list, we remain staunchly committed to making sure that Washington Township students are served by Washington Township employees. Our teacher group has been and always will be our
Adult
largest
education.
staff group, and we understand the vital work that they do. But we also know that kids can't achieve to the full without
Child nutrition. What the fuck is that all about? Is that just like lunch ladies? Other
driver who cares on the way into the building, our child nutrition staff making sure that they are fed and ready to learn, and that many kids won't achieve to the full without the individual support.
You need 102 child nutrition. Okay, whatever.
Of a school psychologist or a counselor or an assistant principal who just takes a little bit of extra time for them. I'm also pleased to share, I know there has been a great deal of discussion about the staffing of schools statewide and having qualified people in positions. We have been very, very fortunate that we continue to get strong candidates for our positions here in Washington Township schools. And I'm especially proud of the number of educators and staff who choose not only to make Washington Township their work home, but like myself, make it the home where their children are being raised and in school. There's also, as you'll see on the next slide, been a lot of discussion about compensation for staff members in schools around the state of Indiana and the need to make sure that those educators see increases in their base salary and in compensation. We are extremely proud in Washington Township that we have been able to make that a reality. Teachers who've been employed and administrators who've been employed in Washington Township since 2018-19 have seen base salary increases of over $20,000. Our staff in Washington Township who are classified staff, those are those bus drivers and child nutrition staff and all the other positions that support our kids, have seen base salary or hourly rate increases of over 20% since 2018 and 2019. When we receive funds, we pour it back into our most vital resource, which is our people. I'd also like to point out perhaps my favorite stat, which is that last line, that we have done all of that with zero increase to the cost of health, dental, and vision insurance for our staff since 2018. We know that compensation is not the only thing that we do to retain and support our staff, but it is an important piece of what we do. And then as you'll see from the next slide, We know that a critical component of that, as Dr. Woodson pointed out, was our passage of referendums in both 2016 and 2018, where our community reaffirmed their commitment to our schools, and we need to hold to those commitments. So we had $1.5 million that was designed to increase teacher pay. That was
What
delivered
is that?
to
A
teachers.
classified staff compensation. Oh, okay. Non-teachers.
In November of 2020.
Why do they keep changing all these terms? Stick with one thing so we know what you're talking about.
There was also $1.5 million to increase classified staff compensation. That was delivered in February of 2021. And there were $900,000 in those operating referendums to address positions where we had looked at both surrounding schools and other surrounding employers and needed to make adjustments to stay competitive. And those funds were delivered in February of 2021. This, I do believe, underscores the importance that in current funding for Indiana schools, operating referenda are critical to our success and critical to our ability to continue to provide our students the services that they need. And now moving to the other side of referenda, I'll pass things off to Ms. Angela Britton-Smith, who's going to talk to you about many of our more physical updates.
What does that mean? Update.
Hi, good evening. I'm the Director of Operations, and obviously you've heard a lot of the great, important, robust work that's been happening in the township, and with optimal teaching and learning spaces, that work is enhanced, obviously, and so we were blessed by having an amazing community support back in 2016 and 2020 with the passage of those construction referendums, and we had 4 priorities that we focused on in both of those referendums. And you can see there the first was with capacity, educational effectiveness, and then safety and security and code compliance, healthy learning environment, and then technology. And the next slide, please. And with those 4 priorities, we were able to touch our facilities inside and outside all throughout. And so we were able to transform the teaching and learning spaces, and we expanded space for student support programs by adding small group spaces, large group instructional spaces at our middle schools, activity commons at our elementary schools, and so on.
Inviting libraries. It is a place to read, all right? Natural light and new furniture. Look at boy. I mean, I kind of get the point. You don't want to be in front of a blue light all day, but it sounds extremely.
The improvements included.
By the way, what classroom never had windows? I'm trying to think of one that never had a window. Anyway, up to the teacher if they wanted the blinds closed so it wasn't distracting the kids from looking at a squirrel. Squirrel!
Adding safe and secure entrances, enhancing our PA and intercom systems, as well as adding upgraded cameras throughout our facilities. We replaced mechanical and plumbing systems throughout. We were able to also improve areas for access for individuals with disabilities, and we improved site circulation on all of our sites by being able to separate vehicular, pedestrian, and bus traffic. And you can continue to see the items that we were able to do by renovating kitchen and dining spaces. We replaced furniture and casework throughout. We also upgraded to LED lighting, which is makes a huge difference when you walk into a building, and also is an enhancement for students while learning. And then we renovated the performing arts spaces at all levels, as well as athletic facilities at both the middle and high school, and also the playgrounds. Next slide, please. And so you cannot go through Washington Township without noticing this work and the upgrades that we've been able to do on all sites. We were able to build new construction up with 2 new elementary schools, a new early learning center, a new middle school, a new field house. We upgraded our stadium with new bleachers and a new press box. And we also built a new transportation bus hub. And we've done renovations at all of the elementaries and have completed those projects as well as the middle schools. But we still have a little bit of work left to do, so we probably have close to about 25% left. And currently we are on Central Campus, which is where our high school is, and still a lot of work happening there. It's a very active site. And the old Northview Middle School that was on Westfield is being transformed into our services center. And then we have the Career Center, and that construction project will mobilize here this summer. So lots and lots of work to be proud of. And again, it could not be possible without that support from the community with the passage of those referendums. Next slide, please. And one enhancement that we're super proud of that we were able to do through that work was to partner with our utilities company, AES, and we submitted application for their rebate program. And you can see there that by the time we finish with all of our projects, we're going to be a little over $1 million that we received back in rebates. And that will also continue to be of savings throughout, because obviously by upgrading to LED is more efficient, and so we will save on our utility bills, which is always a good thing. And then lastly there, on the next slide, this is an accomplishment that we were able to implement this school year, and it's with the Community Eligibility Program, and it allows for our students to receive free breakfast and also a free lunch. And we were able to do that at all of our elementary schools as well as our middle schools. And this is data that we have been monitoring and reviewing every year for some time now, for several years since I've been the Director of Operations, in hopes that we would be able to do this. And so this program is based on direct certification numbers. And so we were finally at a point that it was also going to be cost effective, that we were able to do this. So super excited to be able to offer our families this benefit, and we are we're hopeful that we can also add it to our high school in the future. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Becky Smith.
Thank you. Good evening. As Chief Financial Officer for Washington Township, I have the pleasure to work with a highly qualified financial team, and that we manage and develop over $800 million in funds. That's broken up between $200 million for our regular main budgeted funds, $500 million that you've heard through the capital referendum for all of our projects that we're doing, and then $100 million in grants and donations. Of that $100 million, $33 million was from the ESSER grants. So that is elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds due to COVID. So we had those over the last 3 years. Those have completed in 2024, and now we are seeking other measures with additional grants through Marion County, such as Lilly Endowment Fund and such, that equals almost that exact amount of money. So we're continuing our efforts that we have done over the last couple of years, and we'll continue to do so with additional grant dollars. Moving on, we've utilized various strategic measures for investing. So over the last 2 years, we have been able to add $1 million each year to our banking and investment revenue that we have brought in. So we're very proud of that.
So basically, they don't have enough money because they used all the ARPA dollars, and are like, God, all this money was so great. What do we do? How do we get all this money? Oh, we'll just do more referendums. We just need more tax money to fund all these retarded projects.
Utilizing our debt service fund, we also sell bonds for general obligation bonds and do leases for regular maintenance, large maintenances of these beautiful buildings that you just heard about and seen some pictures. And with that, we do things like paving, roofing, lighting, all those types of regular large items for our buildings to maintain them, all while keeping our tax rate stable for our community. We are also required to have regular state audits every 2 years, where we are continually reporting to have positive audit results by putting together different measures and good practices and internal controls very robustly throughout our district. Last but not least, we like to showcase Washington Township being a fiscally solvent district by providing regular, transparent financial updates throughout the year at our board meetings and on our board website. So you will see throughout all of Washington Township, everything that you've heard about this evening is it takes dollars, and it makes sense, and strategic measures to make sure that we are utilizing those dollars for the betterment of our children and making sure that they can achieve everything that we are offering them. And next, I will turn the time over to Dr. Taylor to finish us out.
Good evening, and thank you again. I'm Sean Taylor. I'm Associate Superintendent for Washington Township Schools, and my job here this evening is I get to give you a test of all the previous slides that we just went through. So whenever you're ready, let me know. That's a joke. You can relax. There's no test this evening, but we do appreciate the opportunity to share with you a little bit about Washington Township story. I also had the privilege of meeting with several counselors about this time last year, and so any chance we get to share our story and partner with you, we certainly appreciate. So I do hope that beyond this evening, if there's a program or a school or a classroom that you want to come visit, we certainly love to show off what's happening in our schools and would certainly take you up on that opportunity as we continue our partnership moving forward. One of the areas that I oversee is school safety. School safety encompasses a lot of different areas. I'll just highlight a few on this slide that we've been working on. First of all, we have an anonymous tip reporting app called Help Me. That is new this year. We emphasize to our community the importance of community safety starts with communication. And so if you see it or you hear about it, you need to report it. And so our community members, that's staff, students, and families, have access to this reporting feature. And this helps us get out in front, helps our Washington Township Police Department, School Police Department, as well as our school administrators get out in front of any potential threatening situations that could occur. And so it's already doing a good job of that notification piece in our community. Additionally, if we have students, staff, or families who are also might be struggling with some mental health challenges, they too can get outreach. It's a 24/7 monitoring tool. We also revised recently our standard response protocols. So in any type of emergency situation, we know how critical the first 30 seconds are. And so we revised our standard response protocols so that we have a quick common language that is accessible in all of our classrooms and all of our buildings. And as part of our HR onboarding process, our new staff members all have this SRP card on the back of each of their ID cards that help them reinforce that common language for our students. And then there's a link there if you want to learn more about our school police department, who work hard to keep our schools safe as well, there at the bottom of that slide. And to conclude this evening, for my piece, on the next slide, we do have strategic planning efforts happening right now in the district. And currently, we are operating on our strategic plan from 2020 to currently, and we are sunsetting that plan at the conclusion of this school year, and we are working to cast the vision of the next 5-year strategic plan. And so we're really excited to be engaging in a robust effort with our community stakeholders. We've heard from over 5,000 students, staff, and family members to this point. We've had 10 focus groups just gathering feedback on what should the future of Washington Township schools look like. Dr. Woodson has, and her leadership and the team has set the bar really high, but we know we're not settled and we need to continue to improve. And so there are also additional opportunities for the stakeholders to meet with me. We have Talk with Taylor nights 3 nights listed there at each of our middle schools. And so if you're in those areas, don't hesitate to come on out and be part of that opportunity to cast the future vision and develop that. And we're looking forward to launching that in July. So again, thank you for this opportunity. I will say that we're another celebration in Washington Township is the fact that we have arguably more school choice options in our district than any other school district in the state of Indiana, and 82% of our students with legal settlement in our district choose our schools. And we're proud of that, but again, we're not settled, and we need to continue to grow and improve. And so, again, appreciate the time, and I'll turn it back over to Dr. Woods.
This is just nothing but a money scam, to be honest with you. And you know what? Make sure you pay attention at the end because I got a bunch of crazy information right now.
Behind you. On the last slide is wonderful ways you can stay connected. Don't take our word for it tonight. Through these resources you see on this page, you will have access in glimpses into classrooms and schools in action. So we really encourage you to stay engaged and share with your fellow colleagues all of what we've shared tonight. I know I work with my superintendent colleagues in Marion County almost every single day. Today was especially busy for many reasons, but I can tell you that we are all thrilled about this opportunity to share more about our school districts with you. I know you've had a few of those presentations thus far and more coming up, but each one of us has particular points of pride and areas of celebration and success because we're doing amazing things in public education in Marion County. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Dr. Woodson. And no one's doing as great as you guys are in Washington Township. Give it up for yourselves. You guys are doing extremely well, and I'm sure the students are in great hands with Dr. Taylor as he transitions and comes on board. So thank you tonight to you and your entire team for the presentation. I want to give my colleagues on the council, and Dr. Taylor, you mentioned that test. You don't know, we've got my colleague, Counselor Boots here, who is ready for pretty much any test.
He'd probably pass it.
Yeah, he's feverishly taking notes here, and he's going to test me later. But I want to give them the opportunity.
Did everybody leave? What happened?
Particularly since Washington Township.
John Barth left. Leroy Robinson's gone. What the hell happened? They couldn't even stay for an hour?
Play with our equipment. It's about ready to collapse here on us. Appreciate everyone being here. As you know, I'm a proud parent of 4 Panthers, married to a Panther. Our council is represented by a Panther who just left. Our chief of staff is a proud Panther, as you'll see over there. So we bleed Washington Township in my household, and I'm proud of it. Just a couple quick questions. The transportation pool, do you guys own or lease your vehicles?
We own. We don't lease any. No. And the fleet is, what's the size of the fleet right now? 115.
115 number of vehicles?
Buses.
Buses.
Vehicles, okay. A different fleet.
Okay. Do you find doing the math, owning versus leasing is more economical in the long run?
It has been with the replacement plan.
They need you at the mic for the recording.
Thank you.
Yes, it has been. It has been very strategic and efficient for us on the owning side versus the leasing.
How often do the buses turn over?
Every 12 years or so. So the bus replacement plan is a 12-year plan that we publish during our budget process. And during our budget process, we list 5 of those years in the bus replacement plan as required by law. But if you would replace a bus any earlier than that, then you can have documentation as such as, it could be a lemon or an engine going or something like that. Where, but normally it's a minimum of 12 years.
On an annual basis or biennial basis, how often, what percentage turns over of your fleet?
We replace between 10 and 12 buses a year.
Okay.
So a little over 10, 12%. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, a couple of just follow-ups.
Please.
Looking back at the ensuring equitable achievement in Washington Township schools, that slide, if I may. Thank you so much. Dr. Pettigrew, just a quick question.
Yes.
I thought I was good in math, but I'm not looking at these numbers. I just want to make sure I'm reading them right. I'm looking in the left column about the academic achievement data.
Yes.
And it talks to the first thing on the left there. It's hard to read up there, but it says all students, second and first in English, math, and social studies. Then looking down below, we talk about students of color and then white students. All of those second and third categories are first. How does two firsts equal a second in the top column, or the top row, if you will?
You're asking, say that one more time, I apologize. How does the...
Yeah, students of color finish first in those categories. White students finish first. Then how, when you put them together and have all students...
I see what you're saying.
Are we talking about other ethnicities?
We're talking about all subgroups. So ENL students, you're talking about students that have an IEP, so all student groups. Other racial groups, yes.
Sure, okay. And then
so one would have to say is that these other groups are bringing down the entire numbers, right?
Finally, just talk briefly, because it's always an issue. It was an issue when my kids were at North Central, the achievement gap. And we say 11th here. One, what is the pool? Is it 11 out of 12 or is it 11 out of 100?
So we're talking about compared to large urban public schools. And so we have, oh gosh, anywhere from, is it 11?
There's 11
it's Elkhart. I mean,
districts that look like ours with the demographics she gave before. Over 10,000 kids, over half free and reduced, over half students of color. So there's 11 school districts that meet those criteria.
Okay.
Out of the 11, that entire data sheet is measuring against the 11. So we are first or second in all those categories up above, but because we have the top performing white students in the state, our students of color have the largest racial achievement gap.
Sure.
And so that's one of the areas that we're working on with our district strategic plan and school.
Sure.
Seems like that's everywhere, right? Huh. It's so weird.
So you're 11th out of 11 because you're a victim of your own success.
to a certain degree, yeah.
Yes, I would say yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. I guess another question I would have as an adult, is it possible to audit your high school artificial intelligence class? I would, being the chair of the AI Commission for Indianapolis, we could probably learn a lot from some Washington Township students.
Sure.
So I just want to show how proud I am of Washington Township and all this work and the people I know. And for purposes of full disclosure, the person, one of the gentlemen in the latter pages who's got a great face for radio is my brother, Jim Booth. So I just would like to announce that as well.
Who's done tremendous work for us.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Your question actually dovetails into mine, which is regarding J. Everett Light. Can you talk a little bit about who's eligible to be a student there? Are we talking just the high school students at North Central, or are we talking about individuals that may be from out of the district? Or tell me a little bit about who's eligible.
It's a great question, and maybe the quantity of students. So we've got 4,000, I think was mentioned in the presentation, at North Central. Adjacent is our Career Center, and Dr. Seaver will give you some statistics because it is amazing who we serve.
So we actually, J. Everett Light Career Center courses are open to sending schools. So if other school districts in the area want to partner with J. Everett Light, they reach out, they sign a memorandum of understanding to be able to send their students to courses at J. Everett Light. North Central is one of the sending schools, and so because we're right there on campus, it's very convenient for our students to just walk across the sidewalk. And so the majority of students at J. Everett Light Career Center at this time are North Central students. And we have, I think, around 800 students that are currently enrolled in career and technical education classes. And we're also expanding our career and technical education programs at North Central in addition to the offerings at J. Everett Light, but it is open to other schools in the area.
Last count I knew, there were 9 other school corporations who sent their kids to our Career Center because of the offerings we offer adolescents.
And just for clarification, that is for current high school students. So if you've left high school for some reason, prior to graduation, and you thought, hey, I want to get in the veterinary program, or the pathway to medical training, CNA, which I saw. Could you re-enter JR?
You need to be enrolled in a high school in order to enroll in Everlight.
Thank you.
We do, however, not mentioned in our presentation, offer adult education coursework. So if a student left high school early before obtaining that diploma, we offer opportunities for for them to finish at a different pace. We offer adult education opportunities. We offer English classes for those who need that, computer skills. So we have an entire adult education area of our school district as well that serves adults in our community.
Thank you. Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question. I don't know if anybody can speak to it. I pulled up the everyday speech program that was mentioned, and it looks pretty cool. Is there anybody that can talk about the pilot and how it's going?
She's on her way.
All right.
This is why I bring the team.
So when we work with our early learning or our earliest learners, it's all about that immersion and experience. So when students are 3, 4, and 5, we're attempting to bring into them all of that native language that comes. It is a pilot program. It is going very, very well. Obviously, we can't do all kinds of things, but the program is working well. Families really are enjoying it. They're reaping the benefits of that. So as we're looking at some of our students who do drop-in services for speech or our TIC groups, we're actually working with those students as well. So not only do we have students that are enrolled, but we have students that attend one of the daycare centers, might be in one of our non-pub schools, that will actually come to us to have that very experience. So working on that speech and articulation with our youngest learners.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
For those that don't know, my wife is a speech therapist in Perry Township School, so that is why I'm.
We always need good speech up here.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Woodson, any other points to share with our committee?
No, just thank you for the opportunity. I will reiterate what Dr. Taylor said. You are always welcome in any of our facilities to see our schools in action. That's the best.
Thank you for sharing with not only our committee, but our entire city, some of the great things that are happening at Washington Township. So we're certainly pleased with today's presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jillian Lane from City Connects.
We have like a
Good
minute
evening,
and
Chairman,
like 2
committee
minutes
members.
left.
My name is Shana Cavazos. I'm the Director of the Office of Education Innovation. Chairman, I might ask, I understand that it's a busy month. If perhaps we could postpone the presentation until more of the committee can be present to hear.
I'll take advice from council on our procedure to successfully move this particular presentation to another day.
Since you don't have a quorum, you can't vote on it, but you can just add it to next month's agenda or your next agenda.
Thank you, Council Pierce. So we will add, that is...
What's her name?
May 4th.
How do I...
So will February 4th work for City Connects?
We might need to circle back on a date that makes the most sense, just given how this kind of scheduling worked with the week after week. But I'll connect with Jillian and the Marion University folks and follow up with you, Chairman, and we can maybe come to a appropriate date for everyone's schedule.
That will be great. So yeah, we will postpone that portion of tonight's agenda to a future date that will be determined.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. If there are no other orders of business, then tonight's meeting is adjourned.
Sure, but whatever. All right. Let's quickly talk about this, because this is kind of a big deal with this whole proposal thing. Mayor Indy from Carly Lanich came out the other day talking about this particular deal. And I think it's definitely worth mentioning because there is a lot of corruption that will probably come out of this whole thing, and I'll explain why. First off, this whole thing is talking about giving more money to Marion County Public Schools to help with their education. They create a special fund to capture money from private developers seeking public funding, but conflicting proposals have emerged to how that money should go to students. And here's the deal. You know what will happen, right? That means the private developers will ask for more money to make up for the money that they will lose for it. So it will just cost more money. And this talks about the two ideas emerged for the education. And the idea was first publicly in a statement shared with journalists in December. Integraves, along with other fellow Democrats, remember, Maggie Lewis and Leroy Robinson, expressed their support for the education fund that would serve as a resource for our low-income families by creating an access to a Circle City student account, which will cover essential educational expenses such as books, technology, tutoring, and transportation. Now, I read this article a few hours ago, and it got me thinking about it. It's like, all right, obviously it's a money scam. But how and why are they using RISE Indy? The statement also thanked RISE Indy for the group's partnership, stating its members and site was critical in developing the vision for its proposal. But obviously, as you saw, that proposal was struck down. So when full council meeting happens tomorrow, which will, when this video comes out, it'll actually be today, they'll be introducing another one. And here's the proposal. I'm not going to read through it because it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense for me to read it right now. And RISE Indy could gain influence in the new proposal because here's how the whole thing would work. You're not sure, where was it? I think it was at the beginning when I mentioned that they're not sure how the money would actually be dispersed. And one proposal would create a fund to be overseen by a committee of council and mayoral appointees. The other would give committee seats to two representatives selected by RISE Indy, most important, a nonprofit with a history of support for local charter schools. And, you know, obviously they talk about the IPS district. I'm pretty sure they're talking about Teshka's bill. But here's the weird. Okay, so for those who don't know, RISE Indy is kind of like pro-charter, but their team, board of directors, the RISE Indy staff: Jasmine Shahid Young, President CEO; Jasmine Jackson, Kendra Wilborn, Dwayne Ingram, Okay, so all these people don't mean shit. Jasmine Shahid Young is probably the most one that is probably the one that you should be paying attention to. Okay, so the very first thing I wanted to know, that's not it. This is from 2022. They're $990 because they're a nonprofit. Now, how much money was Jasmine getting paid? She got paid $250,000, all right, in 2022. The 2024 one obviously isn't out yet, but we do have the 2023, where she got paid $277,000 as a nonprofit. Now, here's the interesting part. There were only 3 people that actually got paid in 2022. And now that amount of money has increased, or the amount of people that are getting paid now has increased. And Jasmine Jackson, who was getting paid $124,000 in 2022, got paid $172,000. And it doesn't even include the compensation, this is probably stipends for gas and bullshit. But here's a big reason why I think they are wanting the money. There's 2 reasons, actually. One is, and obviously we don't have the 2024 one, but their money in 2022, they got paid in total revenue $3.2 million. In 2023, it was only $1.2 million. And here is a fun little fact, too, of how they spent that money. This one's probably my favorite. I want to look at 2022 first. Developed and facilitated a school board governance program in which Indianapolis public school board members were provided professional development training in connection with their purpose and taught how to create their intended impact within the Indianapolis public school. And how much money did they spend on that? $304,000 in 2022. And in 2023, they spent $386,000. Even it became such an attention thing that Mayor Indy wrote about it last October about how IPS candidates endorsed by charter-friendly schools outraise opponents. And it's actually by a lot, too. All right, so it shows that candidates endorsed by Stand and Rise Indy have outraised their opponents by as much as $90,000. Stand and Rise Indy PACs have been contributed over $158,000 combined. Now, I was wondering if this bill from Andrea Hunley had anything to do about it, because it provides that a political PAC may not make total annual contributions to an excess aggregate of $5,000 apportioned in any manner to a specific candidate for what? School board office. That's right. That's why this bill is coming out. And by the way, Andrea Hunley, I am 100% on your side behind this. I think overall campaign donations should be limited. But we all know that's never going to happen. We both understand it. So I went to Transparency USA and I went to the Rise Indy PAC, and I wanted to see if there were any connections, as they would say. And so I just did it 2017 to now. Joe Hogsett, $53,000 in total contributions from Rise Indy. Where's another one? Hold on, there was Justin Moed, my shitbag state rep. He got $2,500 to total. Oh, who is this? Keith Graves, the chair of the Education Committee, received $3,000 from Rise Indy. That's mighty interesting. Oh, who's that too? $7,000 to Maggie Lewis. Oh boy, and obviously Victoria Garcia Wilborn, she got $7,500, which is very interesting that you're getting money from like a pro-charter PAC. And Brown Progressive Strategies, if you don't know, Allie Brown, who is the vice president of the council, of the Indianapolis Council, her husband runs Brown Progressive Strategies. And obviously everybody else, Greg Porter, it's all Democrats, by the way. I wonder if here's ran for state rep. But anyway, Shackelford and everybody. It's all Democrats that got money from it. But I thought it was mighty interesting that it's just the correlation between how much money Rise Indy is giving to candidates so they can push this this charter school, kind of like pro charter school thing, but then all these candidates are also pro public school. I don't know. Seems like hypocrisy to me. But I'll put all these links in the description too, so you can read them. And don't forget, actually, where is it? Boom. February. So the education meeting should be happening on Tuesday, because let me actually double check real quick. Because Indy Council Twitter did put up their... All right, so yeah, Education Committee is happening on February the 4th at 5:30 p.m. So make sure, if you are interested in checking that out, go for it, because this thing is getting released on Monday. That means tomorrow. I obviously won't be going to it because it's at 5:30 and I can't make it in time, but I will be making the council meeting, the full council meeting. So, I just want to, the reason why I bring this up is because there's just so much corruption in politics. It doesn't matter if it's federal or state. It's definitely happening in local, and the school board elections are probably the most important election that I personally think, anyway, because it has to do with how much money we're spending with schools. It has to do with educating the children, how compromised they're going to be, and as you can see from this Washington Township thing, how much money they're spending on students that can't even that don't even know the language, or how much money that they're spending on these autism coaches and the counselors and the special educators and these specialists, and even of how much they're spending the superintendent making over $316,000 a year. That doesn't even include stipends. So I'll put all these links in the description if you want to go through them yourself. But the only reason why I'm bringing this up too is, like I said, it's corruption, and I'm hoping that people that watch these videos understand of how bad it is and how infiltrated everything is, even if something small as we all know education is, but like the intricacies of what they're doing. And we always are very busy throughout the day, and so it's hard to pay attention to this kind of stuff, which is what I'm here for. I'm the one bringing up all this stuff. So this video is gonna almost an hour and a half long, so just play it in your ears if you want to while you're vacuuming or dishes, making dinner. So Obviously, if you have any questions, give me a ring. But if you also find anything, make sure you go to Indie Reporter and you just DM Indie Reporter. And if you find anything, because we are always interested. We talk to teachers, we have other, we talk to faculty for sure about what's going on. And obviously, all this stuff is private. We never leak any information out. But if you have any information, just reach out to Indie Reporter on Twitter. So until next time.